We're here today. I'm Adam from DCS, and I've got Ola Lind here, Managing Director of FTFT Capital, and we're just going to ask him a few questions about his project. Now, Ola, can you please start with a little introduction about yourself and also a little rundown on FTFT?
Sure. I'm coming from the mobile technology space. I've been working in it since 2004, where we have developed many different applications, first in the gaming, comes to mobile lotteries, mobile applications and so forth, launched globally, mostly in Latin America and then Africa, and the last 6 years in Southeast Asia. Involved in blockchain since 2016, and we are engaged in a company who was in China that we are now moved here, and this is how FTFT Capital here in Dubai came about. It was a joint venture between a Nasdaq listed FTFT group and our SOSOB in China, where we used to run actually one of the biggest platforms, 365, for most of the IPOs, or actually not IPOs, ICOs.
ICOs, yeah.
That was down in China.
Back in the day?
Back in the day. So we ended up here in Dubai due to we saw the regulations and the right approach to blockchain, the development here from the government, because they're very open. They implemented it locally in the local government and also in the private sector. And they are very future-minded when it comes to new technology, even
Totally
10
agree.
times more than Singapore, in my belief. And the way they approached it, I think, is very healthy, taking the best bits and parts from all the regulations they've
I was going to ask you about the regulations here in Dubai, actually.
Yes.
So yeah, that's spot on. So you think that the regulation here is more fitting to blockchain companies, fintech companies. What about cryptocurrencies?
Yeah, I think it's coming in stages, and I think that's a healthy approach. The first is DLTs, having the normal ledger technology blockchain licenses that now is offered in several of the free zones here. And I think it's a good first approach. I think the AGM in Abu Dhabi and also the central bank here has a healthy approach to see step by step how they're going to do the licenses, and also working with the private sector and the free zones to build these regulations in hand, I believe, in a very good manner.
Right.
So it will come, but I think it's coming slowly, but with the right...
What do you think would be a faster way to approach regulation? Like, do you think that Sandbox would help?
Yeah. I think what Bahrain did, the central bank, was very forward thinking. What they did with one of the crypto exchanges, and coming out of the sandbox, and then having already the trial and error done in a very regulated and lab way is, I think, the right approach, because it's not on a grander scale. So the
rules aren't set in stone before the regulation is set.
And I think it's very important, because you cannot just regulate for the regulation purposes, just to regulate, because if you don't have the right approach and the right knowledge, you're not going to get the right regulation.
I totally agree with that, 100%. Obviously, the conference is to do with data storage, decentralized and distributed data storage. Now, what do you think of this?
I think it's a very interesting play for two reasons. One, the future, and for greener way of actually utilizing data storage, and fairer in the sense of the small players or the individual is actually participating and get rewarded. It doesn't just go into one centralized cooperation in the sense of monetization and distribution.
Which is your typical data storage at the moment when you start
Exactly.
talking about the big players in it.
And the great thing with decentralized storage is so many new applications will come along, new industries, and the way they're going to actually break some of the old industries and make better and more user-friendly applications for locally here and globally, I think. So it's a very interesting play.
100%. I totally agree once again with you. Being from the industry, maybe that's why. Now, also, the future of blockchain. I think this is an interesting question that I've broached to most people.
Yeah.
So how do you feel that blockchain's going in the future?
I think you're going to see massive changes in a few of the big old industries like banking. And
Yes.
we're already seeing it. And I think that is where most of the changes is coming quickly right now, because fintech has a different approach. They are more agile. They're more agile in the sense of implementing and be more user-friendly in the sense of what the applications they are building is for the end user, not for the bank itself in that sense. And the regulations that are in place for fintech companies, specifically in Southeast Asia so far, is that they are very open to try, like Malaysia, for example, Singapore, Indonesia, to try new way of distributing to the unbanked community, because they are lacking. And the same in Latin America, same in Africa, where we from, not you, but I'm from Europe and you from Australia, where
Yes.
it is very regulated and the whole infrastructure has been there for a very long time.
Correct.
So there I think see the biggest changes in government, but that's the most difficult approach.
Well, I totally agree with that as well. Speaking to government is always a challenge when it comes to blockchain. I think from my point of view that education is the biggest thing that we need to do with government, and maybe the sandbox regulatory practice would be a good way of doing this, for them to understand a little bit more about exactly where blockchain is coming from and the technologies behind it. So with the banking system, right, I feel that maybe the distributed cloud storage would be a great idea for the banking systems as well, for just about any sort of ID. Is that something that you would agree with?
It is, but to change the legacy banking, to give out what they see as their domain and their proprietary domain, is going to be a very big ask.
Yeah, once again, totally agree.
Yeah.
100%.
But seeing what's going on and seeing here, where you've seen Mashreq Bank, for example, going neo-banking, and they have come a very long way in the last 2 years. I mean, they are the front runner here in the region. I think as a traditional bank going into neo-banking, you have a new license coming up. And I think with the 49 banks that are here, this is going to be an interesting play for the future, because they need to compete, and how they're going to compete. I think neo-banking is the only way forward, and blockchain will play a role in it in a big way, due to the fact that here is 200 nationalities. So that means they are remitting money home, most of them, and there is where blockchain will be one of the big domains where they first will roll out technology for.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much for your time, Ola.
Thank
I
you.
really appreciate talking to you.
Likewise.
I hope that everybody out there has actually learned a little bit more about blockchain, and also about Ola Lind and the project FTFT Capital.
And please join at the DCS 2021 in Abu Dhabi on the 15th to 17th of December, because there will be a very new approach when it comes to learning and participating in the Decentralized Storage Summit and more things. at the show.
All right, so I'll be bringing you more interviews soon. And once again, thank you very much.
Thank you.